"We're giving all $1.3 million to your brother," my father said. Just like that. No warning, no shame. A champagne flute in one hand, a smile in the other. Then he turned to me, expression hollow. "You're a failure. Handle your own life." Laughter stirred across the room, fake smiles, avoided eyes. And him, Daniel, leaning smugly against the fireplace, barely hiding the grin spreading across his face like rot. I didn't say a word, but someone else did. From the far end of the room, my grandmother rose. 92, frail bones, velvet dress, sharp mind. "Now it's my turn," she said, and the room went dead silent. There was a time I thought I was the favorite. Back when I brought home straight A's, made honor roll, won academic decathlons while Daniel barely scraped by with charm and a good jawline. But that was never enough. He could crash a car and they'd say the sun was in his eyes. I could win a scholarship and they'd ask, "Why didn't you aim higher?" Still, I loved them, blindly, until I opened my eyes. The signs had been there for years. Daniel got a business loan from Dad, never paid it back. Mom co-signed for his apartment in the city. He stopped paying rent. They cleaned it up, every time, brushed it off. But when my startup faltered, when I needed just enough to keep payroll alive, they told me I should have planned better. "We don't fund hobbies." That's what they called it, a hobby. Even after I rebuilt, even after I landed clients they couldn't pronounce, it didn't matter, because Daniel was their legacy, and I was their burden. So I stopped asking, stopped showing up for birthdays, holidays, graduations that weren't mine. I built my business in silence, grew my circle smaller, sharper. I got strategic, not emotional. And I made one very smart move. They didn't know I had Gram. She was quiet at the table, but always watching. She came to every product launch, read every article about my company, sent handwritten notes with corrections and encouragement like I was 12 again. What they didn't know was that she held her own accounts, property, stocks, money none of them touched, because she didn't trust them. So when Dad stood there at the family party, wine-drunk and self-righteous, making Daniel the heir to a broken throne, I waited. And then Gram stood. She walked slowly to the center of the room. The cane clicked softly on the marble floor. Then she pulled out the envelope, unfolded it with shaking hands. "This," she said, "is a legal transfer. I've signed over my entire estate." Everyone leaned in. Daniel's eyes lit up. "To her," she said, turning toward me, and the room cracked open. "She's the only one who built something on her own," Gram said, "while the rest of you fed off each other like parasites." Dad stepped forward. "Mom, you don't mean that." But she didn't flinch. "You humiliated her in front of the whole family. For what? A degenerate with good teeth?" Daniel's grin disappeared. "She built a company worth more than your house," Gram continued, "and not one of you asked how." My brother laughed nervously. "It's a tech company, Gram. They crash all the time." I finally spoke. "Not this one. I just signed a licensing deal with a Fortune 100. Gasps. My uncle nearly dropped his drink. "You told us it was barely surviving," Dad said. I looked him in the eye. "That's what I wanted you to think." I moved deliberately then, reached into my purse, pulled out a thick folder, dropped it on the table. "Inside," I said, "are the acquisition papers for your family home." Their heads snapped to Gram. She nodded. "I sold it to her. Market value. In full. Took less than 3 days." Mom's hand shot up to her mouth. "You're lying." I turned. "I own the deed, effective yesterday. You'll need to vacate by the end of the month." The silence was surgical. Daniel stepped forward, face red. "You can't do this." I stared at him. "I didn't do anything. You did, when you let them destroy every ounce of faith I had in blood." After that night, they called. Voicemails, emails, cousins suddenly pretending to care. But I didn't respond. Graham moved in with me a week later. We had breakfast on the balcony every morning, watched the city move beneath us like ants. She never said, "I'm proud." She didn't have to. I'd earned more than money that night. I earned truth. And I learned this: blood makes you related. Loyalty makes you family. They called me a failure. Now they're just tenants waiting to be evicted. And me? I'm just getting started.